A winter storm could be heading for the New York City metro area this weekend, but there are still a lot of uncertainties. When will the storm hit? Who will see snow? And where will it accumulate? Let's break it down. Hi guys, I'm John with New York Metro Weather. Today is Thursday, January 4th, and we have the latest update on the winter storm, which is threatening the New York City metro area this weekend. I wanted to start by saying thank you for the patience as we've worked through this forecast. I know there's been a lot going on out there, a lot of clickbait headlines and a lot of apps going haywire with Snowfall Forecasts. I've cautioned against these headlines calling for a massive snowstorm in the New York City metro, and I've cautioned against using those apps at face value. And there's a reason for that. We'll get into it, and we'll talk about what we know and what we still don't know about this winter storm for the weekend and what we can expect. So here's a disturbance in question. It is forecast to be across the Central Plains on Friday morning, moving through Texas and Oklahoma. This is what we're looking at here is just vorticity in the atmosphere. And that's a fancy way for saying spin in the atmosphere. And this helps us to locate these disturbances and watch how they track across the United States. So our disturbance, as it heads towards the northeast states, we'll switch over to the East Coast view here. You'll notice that it's kind of flat. There's really not a big, massive disturbance forming a monster nor'easter. But there is just enough moisture coming up and lift with this storm to help precipitation form, and the models suggest that it will form into a coastal storm as we move into Saturday evening and then overnight into Sunday. It almost partially phases with this disturbance that's right on its heels on Sunday and helps to form that coastal storm as well. So a very intricate and complex interaction, not a classic nor'easter by any stretch of the imagination, but still a coastal storm and still one that's going to bring precipitation to our area. So in the winter, we always ask ourselves when we're looking at snow, is there cold air in place? The answer, not really. There's not a ton of it. There is a high pressure to the north and a very transient, quick hitting cold air mass that's going to move through. So it's very much thread the needle type event here for us to see snow in the New York City metro. This high pressure is just barely hanging on across New England as our low pressure comes up. So what you don't want if you want snow is you don't want this high to escape too quickly because it pushes away and allows all that warm air to come in with the storm. That's going to be a concern because this storm is coming up from the south and there's a lot of warm air advecting towards the area that's going to battle with that high pressure and that cold air to the north. So this is all setting the stage for our area being right on that boundary, that gradient in between the warm air coming up and the cold air hanging on by a thread to the north. And here's what the models suggest. This is a European model. Saturday, this is valid at 4 o'clock p.m. Here's our low pressure down across the Carolinas, and we have snow spreading through the mid-Atlantic and parts of New Jersey. Eventually, by Saturday around 7 o'clock, snow has moved in. Pennsylvania, New Jersey, parts of New York City. You could see it's getting close already. And then as we move into the overnight, this is 10 o'clock Saturday night. Now we're at 12 a.m. Sunday. We have a low pressure off the coast of New Jersey, and we have a swath of snow in eastern PA, northern New Jersey, and just barely into the New York City metro. It's rain on Long Island, it's rain on the Jersey Shore, it's rain in Philadelphia, but the New York City metro is right on that line. Then as the storm moves off to the east, you see that snow kind of wrap back into parts of Long Island and Connecticut, and even impacts parts of the New York City metro on Sunday. So this is a forecasting nightmare with this storm. If anyone is telling you they know what's going to happen with 100% confidence, they are lying to you, I promise. I'm doing my best here. This is a really tough forecast as this storm slides just south and east of the area, and that snow barely hangs on. One of the things working against this storm in terms of snow early on is the wind direction. So with the low pressure south of our area, we have winds easterly off the waters, and those waters are abnormally warm for this time of year. They're 3, 4, 5 degrees warmer than normal. That means that the air mass that's being advected into New York City while this storm is forming and happening is warm initially. So we're probably going to fight that a little bit Saturday afternoon as the storm starts. I suspect that a lot of areas will start off as rain or light rain, and you'll have a lot of questions like, what's going on here? I thought we were supposed to have a snowstorm. Eventually, the low pressure wraps up, and look how the wind direction changes, right? Initially, you see these east winds funneling in. As we move into Sunday night and Saturday night, early morning hours of Sunday, the low pressure forms and air flows counterclockwise around low pressure. And so the air now coming in is from the northeast. That's coming off landmass of New England. And so that will cool our temperatures down, and that's why the model suggests that this initial warm sort of rain look will flip over to snow at periods of time in New York on Sunday morning as this system wraps up and kind of hangs out in the area, even into late morning on Sunday, maybe even parts of Sunday afternoon. So In addition to the gusty winds, the wind direction is also going to be important. So they'll ramp up Saturday afternoon. They'll switch to northeasterly Sunday. That's when our little window exists for snow in the New York City metro. Here's what some models are showing. This is positive snow depth change. This is one of the more aggressive models now. The European model saying somewhere between 3 and 4 inches in the New York City metro. Obviously much lower on the south shore of Long Island. Very little snow at all in New Jersey. But 3 to 4 inches in the New York City metro would be our biggest snowstorm in about 700 days, which is insane to think about. And the more significant snow is inland across northern New Jersey, basically north of Morristown, and into the higher elevations of New Jersey, southeast New York, and Connecticut, where the European model says 6 to 8 inches of snow could fall. Looking at the GFS, though, totally different scenario. Very little snow accumulates in New York on the GFS. It's all inland. It's Morristown and northward, 6 inches up there, southeast New York, Connecticut. So clearly, that area is where the high confidence is with this storm. If you are up here in this region, you are likely getting a moderate intensity snowstorm, but at this point, you're looking at the potential for 6 or more inches in northern New Jersey, southeast New York, and Connecticut. But down in New York City and Long Island, the forecast is very variable, and it depends on which model you look at. That's going to determine where that snow is going to fall. And there's just very little consistency right now. We have one model showing 0 and another showing 3 or 4 inches. So it's a very tough forecast. Let's break this down hour by hour. I want to look at the European model. So this is valid at 4 o'clock p.m. on Saturday afternoon. Here comes our storm. It starts as rain in New Jersey. If you're in southern New Jersey or central New Jersey, don't expect snow from this storm. Now the rain begins in the New York City metro. This is 6 o'clock p.m., so light snow falling in parts of New Jersey and eastern PA. Light rain across Brooklyn, Queens, Long Island, and New York. Again, this is just one weather model. But now that continues. This is valid at 8 o'clock. It's still a light rain in New York. Remember where I told you about that easterly wind? The low pressure hasn't formed yet by 8 o'clock on Saturday. It hasn't really strengthened yet. So our snow is all in the interior and the higher elevations. But as you get deeper into the evening, on Sunday, you see that rain snow line kind of flirting with the New York here. This is valid at 10 o'clock. Now we have heavier snow in northern New Jersey. It's still hanging on in New York around 11, and then it collapses. 11, 12 a.m., we have periods of snow occurring until 1, 2 o'clock in the morning in New York on the European model. Again, still rain in New Jersey, still rain on the South Shore and eastern Long Island. But we have periods of snow occurring in the New York City metro, and that continues into Sunday morning on this weather model. It looks like snow could continue. So this is the same model that shows you this snowfall total. It says that snow, that low-level cold air, will win out, and we will see a couple of inches of snow in New York. You can see very clearly that this will come down to a couple of miles, folks. This is New York City versus northern New Jersey. It's very close battle between rain and snow. The other thing to consider, though, is even if it is snowing, the temperatures are fairly warm initially. It might not stick right away. And so given all this, given the warm temperatures, the warm ground, the very close battle line here, I am still approaching this storm really, really hesitantly, and I'm not going to put out any headlines calling for any sort of major storm. I think it's irresponsible at this point, given how close we are to this rain-snow line and how borderline this storm is. It's really, really a borderline winter storm. That being said, there is snow. It is going to happen. Here's our first snowfall forecast for this system. Now, you might notice we don't put out snowfall maps, and we're not going to do that this winter at all. What you're looking at here is a storm total snowfall forecast range. These are box and whisker plots, which show you the overall distribution of snowfall potential through quartiles. You want to look at the box here in general for your range. So if you're in Central Park, we're looking at somewhere from 1 to 3.5 inches of snow possibility here. The outer percentages here are close to a trace and 4.5 inches on the other end. So we're looking at an inch or two of snow in the New York City metro area here. Less at Kennedy Airport, less at Islip, and very little down the shore at all in Atlantic City, Long Beach Island, or Asbury Park. So Central Park, though, likely in that couple inches range. And then if you get into Newark, you're probably looking at 2 to 3 inches, and then Morristown and White Plains in the interior, likely on the higher end of those totals. We do this for communication purposes because snowfall maps can be really misleading. This shows you the distribution of possibilities. There's a reason why we put these maps out. So take a screenshot of this, look at this, find your area or the one closest to you. This is our forecast, and this is what we're looking at as our opening bid here for this storm. This will change. We will change this as we move through the next couple of days and we get a little closer to the storm. Let's go just hour by hour one more time, break it down, and then we'll leave you here and we'll come back with an update later tonight. Again, it's Saturday afternoon and evening. Models suggest it starts as a rain-snow mix in New York City. It's snowing inland. It's not until late Saturday night, probably after 10 p.m., that heavier precip flips things over to snow. That's when a period of snow could continue into New York until the morning hours on Sunday. So if you have travel plans in the New York City metro area Saturday night or Sunday morning, you might want to plan for alternate travel. You might want to leave some extra time. You might want to check with your carrier, especially given the winds and the winter weather all throughout the Northeast from this system. And then the potential for snow showers continues into parts of Sunday morning, wrapping up by Sunday afternoon as the system begins to depart the area. So again, we're going to be right on the line with this one, folks. This is going to be a tough forecast down to the wire. It's going to keep me up. I've loaded up on the coffee for this one. We'll be with you the whole way. And we'll have updated snowfall forecasts as we go through the next couple of days. Stick with us. Thank you, as always, for watching. I can't even stress to you how much I appreciate it, guys. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments, and we'll answer them this afternoon. Thanks for watching, guys.